I'm Deloitte's CSO in residence. What does that mean? Well, I led sustainability in the entertainment industry at a company, some of you may be aware, called Activision Blizzard, up until we were acquired by Microsoft. And in the course of that work, I had some amazing, and previous work, interactions with Deloitte. And after I left the rest of the executive team, Deloitte approached me and asked if I'd like to come on board and do this role. And I said, sounds great, what is it? And we decided together that I would focus on really content and capabilities, making sure a client perspective is brought into everything we do with sustainability, making sure our teams are up to the challenge of what our clients need and being able to deliver on it. One of the things I noticed leading sustainability at Activision Blizzard was that while we had a good handle on our emissions, we really didn't have a good handle on our performance with sustainability. We didn't know how we were doing compared to everyone else. You know, is our work good? Is it up to par? Are we doing it efficiently? Are there ideas we're missing out? All that kind of thing. So one of the capabilities I brought as an idea of the firm that the firm quickly adopted was this notion of let's ask, let's go out and talk to our clients. So for the second year, we've done our a benchmarking exercise of more than 100 large company CSOs. And you are the first audience to see this data. The analysis isn't even complete yet. That's how new this is. Everything you'll see here is complete, but we have a lot more to do. We have a lot of data. And to our knowledge, at least for the last year, at least since the administration changed in Washington, this is the first large survey of its kind. So there's a couple insights. I promise this is not going to be death by PowerPoint. There's just 3 slides, but hopefully it'll leave you with some good insights about leadership in this space. Okay, key findings are all really on this slide. The first is the good news. We see CSOs saying, hey, team size not changing a lot. Consistent with last year, about 90% of CSOs expect their teams to stay the same or grow a little bit, which is great. They also remain pretty confident about budgets. About half expect their budgets to stay the same. That's up 9%, which is great. And 13% even expect an increase. So that's also good. Voluntary reporting. Companies are still, despite all the outward pressure, all the talk about greenwashing, they still, almost all of them plan to report more than is required of them. They are making big investments in technology in this space, especially around sustainability data analytics, AI, not surprising, and energy efficient solutions. Interestingly enough, a lot of confidence in the function too, which surprised us. So 2/3 agree their company's sustainability function is mature compared to similar companies, and almost 3/4 think that they're managing sustainability effectively, even in this environment, which is good to know. Big skill gap called out in terms of AI, not surprisingly. And we'll go a little deeper on this in a subsequent slide. But you know, really what they're looking for is ways to garner efficiency, to get their teams to be able to do even more, to have a bigger impact using AI as a tool. And secondly, how do they show value? This is really interesting. Joel probably could speak to this, but companies are more and more, and especially in the entertainment industry, they're asking their sustainability teams to show the values. Like, okay, what are you doing to help this company achieve its goals? And in the beginning, that's kind of how sustainability in the corporate world kind of started, was you had to earn your keep. And we're sort of back to that now, earning your keep. So that's another skill gap that we see from these teams. One not so great note, a decline in commitment from senior leadership. So about 40% said their company's senior leadership are really showing ownership of sustainability compared to 54% last year. At a more junior level, however, we haven't seen any decrease in commitment at all. And then in an attempt to drive value, what we see a lot of is looking for ways sustainability can deliver on operational efficiency. How can we take cost out, or how can we take risk out? I see that as actually a huge missed opportunity to do good for the planet and also do good for the companies. Because what we're not seeing from sustainability teams is a lot of focus on how do we grow the top line? How do we find new markets? How do we entice new consumers or customers through our sustainable actions and values? Okay, second slide. Only 3. Priorities. What do we see here? So on the left here, still a lot of focus, despite everything happening in the US, a lot of focus on regulatory compliance, California, obviously Europe, New York, disclosures and reporting, and still a lot of focus on net zero commitment execution. That's great. That's what we see on the far left. Stakeholder engagement, that's internal and external communications, still a very high priority. And there's that on the upper right, the value creation. Again, there's still a lot of focus there. As we started to step back and pull out insights that we think might be most valuable to the industry, we see a couple things. So energy management, very central to our last conversation, is a central priority for media and entertainment. There's also this focus on systems upgrades where CSOs can focus on ways to, for instance, upgrade data centers or find new sources of green energy, et cetera, et cetera. And then again, much like consumers or consumer businesses, we see prioritization of climate risk and opportunity assessments. Okay, last bit here. So we're going to do 3 quick deep dives into AI, value drivers, and capital investments. So what are sustainability functions using AI for? Far and away, as I alluded to earlier, they're trying to increase sustainability team member efficiency. How can we make our individual team members more productive? Number 2, how can we improve the insights we're getting from sustainability? And number 3, how do we test our disclosures before we put them out publicly? How do we find the holes in them? How do we find the objections? How do we identify the things our employees are going to be happy about or unhappy about, or investors or regulators? So those are some pretty interesting uses of AI. Value drivers. This is what I was talking about before. If you look at this middle chart here, the biggest value drivers that CSOs see is, hey, we're addressing regulatory risk. We're creating efficiencies for the company. Maybe it's helping us to retain or attract talent. But what they're really not looking about is, if you get towards the bottom, the things that are driving new sources of revenue, greater profitability, more consumer engagement. That takes kind of a different skill set than we typically see among CSOs. If you look where CSOs come from all different walks of life, but very few of them come from marketing, sales, product. The people who are thinking about how do we create new sources of revenue. And so therefore, it's really not surprising that they're not exercising that muscle. And we really think there's a lot of opportunity for them to do so. And then finally, in terms of capital investments, CapEx, the big financial numbers or outlays that are going out to make lasting improvements within companies, we see those going to, not surprisingly, enhancing operational efficiency and using resources better. Secondly, and this is a good thing, driving direct reductions in greenhouse gas emissions. And finally, to support regulatory compliance. So these are often systems investments so they can do disclosures more efficiently or more quickly. So that's the results at a high level. We have a much more detailed report. Every one of our CSOs who took it is going to get a 20-page deck. Should be really useful to them come planning and budgeting and talent seasons. And that's really what's so important. Again, when I was in that seat, it was deeply frustrating not to understand how to staff the function, how to budget it, whom I should be reporting to, all this kind of thing. Didn't have any insight. These reports give that kind of detail and capability to CSOs. So with that, that's the end of my presentation. But be around all day and happy to answer any questions. If you're interested in receiving a copy, we will be publishing this eventually. But feel free to drop me a note on the app. Thanks.
Thanks, Dan.